Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I am your host, Hector Montalvo. This show is dedicated to asking tough questions for you, the viewers. We bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Today, we are talking with candidates who want to be your mayor for the great city of Methuen. So we're going out to get to know who your candidates are. Joining us today at our MCTV studios, we're honored to be sitting with Mr. Al Dinuccio. Mr. Dinuccio, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me, Hector.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Dinuccio, tell us, what is a day like for Al Dinuccio waking up from the time he wakes up in the morning?
Well, a weekday or a weekend day?
Well,
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I own my own business. So people that own their own businesses, they probably understand what I'm going to say. It's a little different than people that work for somebody, they look at it a different way. So owning your own business, you automatically, as soon as I wake up in the morning, my mind starts spinning. What has to be done today? What do I have to make sure that gets done? Whatever problems that are going on in my world, my head starts. So my drive to work consists of about, 15 cups of coffee, and my mind's racing to, by the time I get in, I got to hit the ground with my feet running. So what happens is, owning my own business, I'm in Lawrence. I have a factory in Lawrence. I'm in the furniture business. I'm a manufacturer. Have been for over 30 years and own several large companies. One of them, I grew up to from a couple of employees up to about 250 employees. So, and this one that I have right now is about 3 years old, and we're growing fast. We're looking for a building in Lawrence. We're looking to grow. We're working with the community development department over there. So my day consists of either having meetings with community development, looking for a building, taking care of the fires that go on during the day that have to be put out, getting my production done, making sure my payroll is met, and all the stuff that goes into owning a business. Then I come home and I spend as much time as I can with my family, which is very important to me. I have a little grandson that I love to see, and when you walk in the door and he's sitting there waiting for you, it makes everything go away. And I try to put everything that goes on during the day away at that point. You have to divide your time up. There's family time, there's work time, and you put it away as much as you can. You put it out of your thoughts, and then you move on. And that's the balance I try to keep between my family and my workplace, as far as you can't, it's tough to bring your business home with you and have a stable family life. You have to differentiate. I've been married 27 years. I'm going on 28 years this May. So, I think it's working, what I do. And pretty much that's my day. And it's sunrise to sunset.
So you mentioned that you drink about 15 cups of coffee a day.
Actually more. That's just in the morning.
It is.
I do. I live on it.
Do you drink Dunkin' Donuts, or do you drink Starbucks or Man's Orchard? I mean, what kind of coffee?
That's a great question. I like them all. Heavenly Donut is one of my favorites. I really like Heavenly Donuts coffee. But at work, we make Dunkin' Donuts coffee. We make our own Dunkin' Donuts there. We buy the gross. So a little bit of everybody.
Now, you said after your day from work, you like to come home and spend time with the family. What's your favorite dinner?
I have several favorite dinners, but actually recently one of them, and unfortunately, I said this to my wife the other day, why do we only have this one time a year? We had boiled dinner because of St. Patrick's Day, so we had boiled dinner, and most people only have it once a year. I said, why don't we have this more often? That's actually one of my favorites, believe it or not. I'm a meat and potato guy. I like the comfort foods.
Now, so you like the comfort food. Did you have any green beer?
Green beer?
Yeah,
no, I did have some Guinness draft, though.
Nice.
It goes good with a meal.
Now, you mentioned that you own your own business and you have a factory, sell furniture and so on. Let me ask you this. What is the cheapest date you ever taken your wife to?
That's funny. The cheapest date? Boy, Hector, that's a good one. Probably Salisbury Beach. Some onion rings. Walk on the beach. Walk on the boardwalk. That's probably as cheap as it gets, I think, nowadays.
No, do you use networking at all?
Yeah, help me out a little.
Networking, Facebook, Twitter.
Oh, sure. I'm on Facebook daily. I enjoy Facebook. I have a lot of friends on there, and we, people look at Facebook, I think, and they think of it as more kids do it. But I see it the opposite. I mean, there's a lot of people my age on Facebook, and it's a great, actually right now with the catastrophe that's going on in Japan with the tsunami and the earthquake, most of the communication that's taken place has happened by Facebook because the lines were down and communication was down, and people were finding, I'm finding Facebook to be more of a tool than a social network, but people were finding out if their relatives were doing well or their loved ones by Facebook. So it's becoming, I think Facebook has gone up several notches in my mind because of, you know, the catastrophe that's threat out there.
Now, do you prefer Facebook over Twitter?
I don't tweet. I don't tweet. I don't do Twitter. No, you know, I only have so much time in the day to spend on the computer or on my phone, and so between my emails and Facebook and, you know, anything else that's going on in my world that I need the computer for, I don't have enough time to do them all.
What was your favorite car?
My favorite car was a 1986 IROC.
Was that your first car?
It was my first new car I ever bought. I bought it brand new in 1986. It was a Chevy Camaro IROC with the T-tops. 1986, it was reminiscent of Smokey and the Bandit type vehicles. And well, I had to get rid of it at the time. It's not a New England car. You couldn't even drive it in the rain. It was so fast and the tires would just spin in the rain. So come wintertime, you needed another vehicle just to drive in the winter. So it wasn't realistic as a New England car. I wish I still had it today.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is red.
It's red. Now, what is your...
These are great questions, by the way. I like this. This is a good interview.
Well, we want to get to...
I've run 2 campaigns. I ran for mayor, as you know, in 2009, and I ran for state rep in 2011. And in all those campaigns and all the people I ran against and all the stuff, nobody asked any personal questions. This is interesting.
Well, you know, this is a unique show.
And I came in, I know the viewers need to know this, I came in not knowing what was going to happen today.
Well, this
is all a mystery.
That's what we like to do here
like
behind the scenes. We like to go behind the scenes kind of to, you know, let the people decide who they're actually going to have an opportunity to vote for. Now, in giving the people the opportunity, give us your resume. What does your resume look like? Your resume. My
resume is... let's see, I've been a businessman for I'm married, I have 3 children, they're all growing up. My youngest is 21, my oldest is 26. I have 1 grandchild who's 3 years old, and I talked about him earlier. I've been a businessman for 35 years, owning and operating my own corporations and businesses, some of them very large, some of them very small, and some of them at the same time. So, you know, I've been in the manufacturing world, I've been in the private world. I'm the guy that writes the checks. I'm not the guy, you know, I'm the guy that has to sign the bottom of the check. There's a lot of responsibility there. So, you know, my resume consists of employing a lot of people over many, many years, running successful companies. I have a great private sector background that I really want to bring to the public sector. This is... You know, I want to, we just had some recent events in Wisconsin that, you know, went national and stuff like that. I heard a term the other day that I want to share with you. You know, everybody looks at the city of Lawrence as somewhat of a plight or whatever in Massachusetts. And somebody said the other day that Massachusetts is now becoming the Lawrence of the United States. The rest of the United States is looking at Mass as Lawrence. And that's unfortunate. You know, I think the scales have really tipped too far in one direction. And Massachusetts especially, we just seen it with the recent elections and the statewide elections where not even 1 Republican candidate went to Washington. And knowing that we were going to have, you know, a Republican House, and you know, so as a state, we still sent all the Dems there that really can't bring anything back to this state. And we had some great candidates. I mean, it wasn't like we had some slouches out there running. There were some really good kids. I was very, very shocked to see that. I do believe that the unions kicked in at the end, the teachers' unions and all that stuff at the very end of that race, and got a little nervous, and they just overwhelmingly voted Democratic. And so the rest of the country looks at us funny like that. I don't want the rest of the state to look at Methuen like that. I think we need to be leaders. I think we need to start reinventing. You hear these terms every election, but we still elect the same candidates, the same politicians who just forget these terms. We do need to reinvent government. We need to start doing things like this. We need to privatize some of the government. We need to streamline some of the government. We need to, you know, it makes, you know, this is the funny part. In Wisconsin, the unions, you know, told everybody that, you know, Governor Walker was union busting. The unions are still there. They passed the bill. He signed it. The unions aren't gone. As a matter of fact, if anyone really read that bill, they still kept their collective bargaining. They kept it for all their wages. We in Massachusetts are doing the exact same thing with health care, taking away the collective bargaining of the unions that he did. It's not a, you know, there's a lot of rhetoric out there. I talked to a teacher the other day. Teacher said to me that she's sick of getting, he's sick of getting pay cuts. I said, you got a pay cut? Well, yeah, he said. I said, I don't remember teacher getting a pay cut. Well, my insurance went up. I said, that's not a pay cut. A pay cut is if you make $100 a week and now you make $80. That's a pay cut. Your expenses went up. That doesn't mean you got a pay cut. But that's the rhetoric we hear out there all the time. It doesn't work anymore. You know, what we're doing is unsustainable. So I want to bring my private sector, maybe I went on a really long answer here, I apologize, but I want to bring my private sector experience, being efficient, having to make a buck, having to show a profit, having to make a payroll, to the public sector.
Now, you know what's interesting.
I'm sorry it took so long.
That's okay. What's interesting is that you sound like a regular average person. You get up in the morning, you have 15 cups of coffee, you start your day off.
That's not average.
That's not average. You know, you like heavily donuts, your favorite color is red, you taking your wife to the cheapest date up in Salisbury, and so on. What made you get into politics? You know,
as a business owner, as a businessman for many years, politics and business clash on a regular basis, especially in the state of Massachusetts. So I sit back as a business owner with all the regulations that I have to make my company work with, whether it's the DEP or the EPA or any of the OSHA or any of the agencies that are out there. And you've heard all this stuff before, how business is just overwhelmed by government right now. So it's only natural that I have to deal with politicians and government and make things work. I also did a lot of GSA government contracts. I was involved heavily in the military contracts. I built a lot of furniture for the Army and Navy and Marine bases and all over the world. And so, you know, I got involved. My main business was building dormitory furniture for colleges and universities. So I got involved with the governments of, you know, I'd done UMass Lowell and Merrimack College and all the local colleges. I built all their dormitory furniture. So you're dealing with politicians, you're dealing with the government on a regular basis. I was privy to a lot of inside information as an outsider, if you want to call it that. I know a lot of teachers. I know a lot of firemen. I've been a part-time police officer for over 25 years. Knowing what I know, and I kind of wish I didn't know it. I kind of wish I didn't know all the stuff I know. But knowing what I know, I can't sit back and not try as a good citizen, as a good productive person in the community, not try to help out. And when I see all these problems, a lot of the stuff that goes on in a day-to-day business of the city, most people don't know what's happening, and a lot of it's mass. This just happened, the tunnel in Boston, the lights are falling down in the tunnel. They knew for 5 months and didn't warn the public. This is what goes on, and I don't know why that decision was made, but stuff like this happens daily. I'm lucky enough I'm privy to a lot of this information, so I kind of know how to, I'm a fixer. This is what I do. I fix things. I do it in my business. I do it on a regular basis. We're constantly growing. We have, you know, challenges you have to overcome. I like to fix things and make things work properly without hurting people. I mean, I have employees. I don't want to lay off my employees. What happened when I was getting to my original point is my goal, and this was Governor Walker's goal in Wisconsin, is to make the people, the employees of the city or towns that are left or are still standing, much stronger. Their jobs. Do you want to go to work every year and have to say, oh, gee, you have to take concessions this year, or gee, you have to do this, you know, you have to give up vacation days this year, or your health insurance is going up. This is what's going on. It's not a good work environment. You know, if we could clean it up a little bit and just streamline it a little bit more and do a few things here, they're not earth-shattering. I will absolutely guarantee all the citizens in Methuen that no services go away. The police will come when you call 911, the fire will come, the ambulance will come, you know, your trash will get picked up, the teachers will be in school. None of those services will go away, but my goal is to make sure that the taxes don't go up anymore to keep those services. I still think there's tons of waste in places we could cut and save and streamline before taxes need to go up again.
Tell us what a day is like when you're not doing your everyday thing, dealing with your business, coming in, having to deal with politics. What is a relaxing day for Al Dinuccio?
The most relaxing day I could spend is in my yard. I love yard work. I love working on my shrubs. I have a garden out back that you know, I grow vegetables in. It's you know, I'll put my headphones on and listen to maybe oldies or sometimes some talk shows if it's a good topic, and I'll just putter around the yard from sun up to sundown, and that's the most fun day I could have personally. And it's nice and quiet, and I get to reflect on my thoughts of the week or whatever, and just make the yard. You stand back, laughter, and you look, wow, gee, that looks really good. You accomplish something at the same time. So that to me. That's if I could have my birthday in the summertime. My birthday's not on foot. I would say that's what I want for a present, a day in the yard.
Now, you say you put your headphones on when you're out doing the yard work and so on. What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to the oldies.
You do?
I do. And you know, I listen to it so much that my children growing up in the back seat of the car had to listen to it too. And you know, my son, and this, I'm not bragging or anything, but he could actually sing every word to every oldie song ever created from 1950 to the 70s, I believe. People commented on the sound. How do you know that song, they say to him, from sitting in the back seat of my car.
What is one of your favorite oldie songs?
I like the old Rolling Stones. I like almost that. As a matter of fact, one of their songs, Wild Horses, was our wedding song at my wife and myself's wedding.
Mine was Don't Give Love a Bad Name or something like that by Bon Jovi.
Wow.
Or You Give Love a Bad Name.
Bon Jovi was just in Boston.
Yeah. What's your favorite television show to watch on a relaxing day?
You know, I'm going to admit I'm hooked on the reality shows. I watch the Pawn Stars. My thumb, I have the strongest thumb in the city, I believe, because I could change channels so fast. But I'm hooked on all the reality shows, whether it's the Pawn Stars or American Pickers or Axemen. Or I really like those types of reality shows. I don't know why, I just enjoy them. I was a big fan of American Idol for many years, but this year I had to break off. I'm not watching purposely. I'm not watching American Idol this year. I had to stop watching. I was obsessed with it. I had to stop.
Take us back to when you were growing up. Tell us, what was your favorite cartoon? Was it like Tom and Jerry?
Oh my God, I can't believe you're asking this. We were talking about this at home last night, and I was talking about Bugs Bunny, the original Bugs Bunnies. And my daughter, who's 23 years old, said, "What's that?" And I started going into this whole detailed description of it. That's fine. I can't believe you asked that question. That's great. Of the original Bugs Bunny cartoons. But my favorite all-time cartoon was Johnny Quest. And I don't know if anybody remembers that, but Johnny Quest was a Saturday morning cartoon. And boy, that was the one when I was a kid that I had to watch that before I went out to play.
Well, just want to remind the viewers, you are watching Behind the Scenes. I am your host, Hector Montalvo. We're joined in studio today by Al Dinuccio. We know him on a personal level, and he is a candidate for mayor for the city of Methuen. If you have a question that you want us to ask your legal representation or any government official, send us an email at thehectormontalvoshow@yahoo.com. You can also visit our website at behindthescenes.weebly.com or join us on Facebook, Behind the Scenes with Hector Montalvo. Mr. Dinuccio, do you remember the Ford Pintos back in the day?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Should Ford come out with a Ford Pinto convertible, 2 doors maybe this time around?
One of my childhood friends growing up, his name was Jackie Fields. He's not with us anymore. He's passed on. But Jackie Fields was the first one that could drive when we were a child. And he got a 4-cylinder Ford Pinto hatchback. And we had more fun in that car. You know, we learned how to fix our cars on his car. That was back in the day when you could open the hood and there was a carburetor and there was, you know, the spark plugs were right there. And we did his brake jobs and his oil changes, and we had more fun. And it was a simple little car. And, you know, I don't know if there's an easy way to say this, but all the EPA regulations and all the stuff that goes on today and all the sensors and the catalytic converters, and, you know, I believe you get better gas mileage without a catalytic converter on any car, but it's illegal not to have one. You know, those days, it just seems like we had these humongous muscle cars and Cutlasses and 442s, and they got great gas mileage. We had no problem back then. And I think we tend to, as a society, we tend to complicate things. I think it's just our nature. Once you know the ball starts rolling downhill, we kick it even more and let's keep it rolling. And I think that's what happened to cars. I would love to see the car companies. Actually, Ford's doing very well. Unfortunately, on the backs of Japan right now, the Priuses aren't being made, but the Ford hybrids they can't make them fast enough right now, so they're picking up the slack for what's happening in Japan right now. Good for America, bad for Japan. It's too bad it happened that way. So I would love to see things be almost everything becomes simpler. I'm trying to think of, as I'm talking to you now, there was a report the other day on something with the washing machines. In 1996, there was only top-load washing machines. Consumer Report did a study on 18 of them. 15 were excellent and unbelievable buys, and 3 of them were very, very goods. So out of the 18, there was not a bad washing machine in America. Today you can only buy front loads, and they're having all kinds of problems on them. But because they're trying to save energy, a front loader uses a little less water and this and that. So now we can't have this really simple, really cheap, really good product anymore. We're doing this with incandescent lights. We're doing this across the board. I don't know if anybody's had problem washing their dishes in a dishwasher, but they took the phosphate out of the soap in the dishwashers. That's why your dishes don't come out clean no more. So you can go to Home Depot and buy phosphate and add a teaspoon into the dish, but they took it out of the soap. So, what are we doing? How complicated are we making things?
Now, we know that when you were growing up, you mentioned that Bugs Bunny was one of your favorite cartoon characters. Can you tell us, what, in your school days, what was your strongest subject in school?
I hope the viewers don't find this too boring. I'm really not. I'm a boring guy, technically. But as a young teenager, I had some artistic ability. I really liked to draw, and I could copy things very well, and I really liked that. So I enjoyed the art, which back when I was in school was it was not a big subject, art. I mean, that was something you got to do once a week. Today, we've discovered that the arts are, very good. I mean, especially with computers, there's graphic designers out there now. I wish we had that stuff when I was younger. I may have been in a different field if it had been around. But I really liked art. It's what I really enjoyed going to school for, if it was art day.
Now, you mentioned that when you were in school, they had the arts and they had other type of programs. You mentioned the type of cars that you liked. You mentioned the...
It's a blast from the past.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you see anything has changed within the school systems where they don't have the type of hand-on, like mechanics in the school system, or is...
Well, not just the school system. I think it's I don't know what's happened to time. There's no time left anymore. You're right. I have the feeling that when I was in school, that more time was spent on the students and more time was spent with the teachers and the direct teaching. It's almost like everything's rushed today. You talk to a student today in school, and they'll tell you they have, from the time the bell rings, they have 15 minutes to fight their way down the hallway, get to the cafeteria, have something to eat, and then get to their next class. I mean, it's almost, I don't know what's happened. Time has run out. We try to put too many things into the school day, I believe. There are some things in the school system that, if I was king for a day, that I probably would change. I don't mean that as, running for mayor. I mean, I always use this terminology. I said, Hector Montalvo, if you were king for a day, what would you do, what would you do with the schools, And I like to pose that question on people. So you could do anything you want. How would you change the school system, So when I say king for a day, I don't mean that. Please, I'm not like that. I'm not a king by any means. I'm a very boring person. But if I was king for a day, there's some subjects I would probably, do away with and free up some more time to get back to. And we're starting to, as a society, figure out that the sciences are very, very important now. This is what's going to keep our society going. Science is huge. Math is huge. English is huge. But there are some things that are tucked in that day, and they've done away with some of them. Some of the what we've done is taken out some of the wood shops and things and put them in the Volk schools, which is good because that freed up a little more time.
Now,
I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. Now let me ask you, where is your favorite restaurant? Do you have a favorite restaurant?
Can I say it?
Yes.
Okay. Amalfi's up on Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire, is probably as close to the North End, if not better than any of the North End restaurants. It's a fantastic Italian restaurant. If anybody wants to go for unbelievable Italian food, I guarantee you will walk out there totally satisfied. They make a pork chop that they slice down the middle and they stuff it with prosciutto and provolone cheese. Everything on their menu is veal, salt, and bocca. Everything is phenomenal. I have their menu memorized. I try not to go too often because I don't want to ruin it. I want to kind of anticipate going there.
Now, does Al Dinuccio I'm sure your wife may send you out to the store to pick up some of the stuff for dinner or something like that. Do you tend to forget when you get to the store what you actually went into the store to pick up?
My wife won't send me to the store anymore. I'm an impulse buyer. If I go for eggs and milk and bread, I'm coming back with a lot more. She learned a long time ago not to send me to the store. I definitely impulse buy.
Nice. Do you use coupons or anything?
My wife does. I come home daily, and we have the pile of mail, and they keep all their coupons in the same pile, and I yell at them. It's like, you start a coupon pile. But they do. They're coupon cutters. You can't not be nowadays. It doesn't matter how much money you're making or what you're earning nowadays. I mean, I think the mentality of everybody out there is just to try to be a little more frugal no matter what you earn. And Steve always coupon shopped anyways, but I think it's a good thing. If you could save $1, why not?
Well, now, you mentioned saving $1. Is there a particular store that you like to go shopping at, or do you rotate?
I told you, I'm very, very boring. Walmart is my favorite store. I'm a boring person. I buy off the rack. I'm not a fancy person by any means. I love Walmart. You can't beat the deals. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm going to buy socks, why would I pay double somewhere else? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm a realist.
What about boxers or brief?
I'll give you the politically correct answer. I wear boxer briefs.
Well, Mr. Dinuccio. Now, Mr. Dinuccio,
that's funny.
You are a candidate for the city of Methuen, and many of my viewers know who Al Dinuccio is.
I hope so.
Why, with all the things that you have going on, what do you think makes you the best candidate to have this position?
Well, the field isn't established yet, but there are some names out there. I hear Steve Zani, I hear Ken Willett, I hear Kevin Thompson. What differentiates me from them is I come from the private sector. I have a private sector background. I have been in business for many, many, many years, running large operations. The city is a business. The city has to be run like a business. You need leadership. You need to manage the city daily, hourly, minutely. Everybody else that I just mentioned has none of that background. I believe Steve Zani's a teacher in New Hampshire, and Kevin Thompson's a teacher again. I mean, nothing against them. They're good, honorable people. Nothing against them. But do we really want a teacher managing a city right now with the financial crisis that's going on, not just locally, but worldwide? I mean, there's a worldwide crisis financially. So, do we need a teacher with no background in any type of management skills running the city? It's kind of tough. So, what really makes me differentiates me from the other candidates is my managerial background.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in, and thank you for your good sportsmanship based on the questions that we asked.
I enjoyed it.
We want to invite also some of your other candidates, some of your other opponents who may be running for mayor for the city of Methuen onto the show for a personal side of them to, determine whether or not they are the right candidates for the city of Methuen. So thank you for coming in and being a good sport. I enjoyed it
very much. Thank you for having me.
I want to thank the crew at MCTV. I want to thank the staff at MCTV, and I want to thank you at home for watching. Join us next time as we go behind the scenes to ask the tough questions, bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Thank you for watching.